In my younger years, when I was just a child of being 4 or 5, I was around older Indian people, the grandmothers and the grandparents and older people that spoke Indian. And they told me, I may have been young, but they told me things that I remember now. You can record tonight.
That'll be enough now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little story about Coyote. Coyote's a real trickster. One day at his camp, he was cooking a pot of meat out on an open fire. And the fire was just about all burned out. The meat was just about all cooked. And he gathered all the coals and put them in a pile. Then he set the pot on those coals. It looked like there was no fire under it. About that time, 4 soldiers came walking by. Coyote saw them, but he didn't pay any attention. Soldiers could smell this meat cooking. So they walked on over this way, and then they saw this pot sitting there boiling. They all looked at one another, and they looked down at that pot. They told Coyote, "Boy, that's sure a good pot you got there. It's cooking, it's boiling, and you haven't even got a fire under it." They kept looking at that, and they were kind of surprised and, kind of amazed at it. They looked at one another, real happy because they had just won a bunch of money playing cards. They told Coyote, "How would you like to sell your old pot?" Coyote says, No, I don't want to sell it." He says, "It's an old pot," and so this one soldier had his money in his hand, and he showed it to Coyote. He says, "Look at this. What if I give you all of this money? Would you sell it to me then?" No, I don't want to sell it." He didn't pay too much attention. He kept staring it. So they got together over here, and they were talking to one another. He says, "Gee, look at that pot. Look at the way it's boiling. It hasn't even got a fire under it." So they got all their money together, and they said, this guy turned back to Coyote, and he says, look at all the money we've got, $256. We give you the whole thing. Would you sell us that old pot then?" When they offered him all that money, he kind of looked up, and he took notice, and he said, well, he gets up and he brushes off his hands, and he says, "Well, I guess if you want it that bad, I guess I'll sell it to you." So he reaches out there, and they give him that money. He takes their money, and he takes the pot, and he gets a big bowl, and he dumps the meat, and he hands them the pot. He says, "Here, you can have it." So they were pretty happy. They smiled, and they walked off down the road. They got away with Coyote's magic pot. Coyote's a real rascal. He's real tricky.
My people have always said that Coyote is a trickster. Maybe, just maybe, this is where we are tricked. My life in the city was kind of a hurried one. It seemed like everything was in a hurry. Anything I did was in a hurry. My job or shopping or anything was in a hurry, and I felt like it was one big vicious circle, Nobody could really be relaxed, and being among the non-Indian people or the white people, I always felt like I was an intrusion or an outsider, which I was in their world, you know. And I always felt like I was being stared at by these people, you know. And a lot of time I was, but I'd always walk around being proud of who I was. And living in the city is kind of a big hassle, living among the white people, because they're not your people. White people have a way of living that's uncaring. They forget about a lot of things, you know. I don't know what they're really working for, you know. I've never felt really good with white people or living in the city because it was too hurried for the style of life I always have lived, you know, living on the reservation. It's more easygoing, you know. No big problems, really, you know. Everything's going smooth, and then you have the land and no pollution, you know, no big hassles like in the city. And I used to meet all kinds of people in the city. Weird people, funny people, you know. And I must look funny to a lot of people too, you know. It's just a new experience meeting different types of people. You know, I used to get a kick out of watching them. I'd just sit on a corner waiting for a bus, you know, and I'd get a kick out of the way people treat each other, you know. Some people would say hello to you, and others wouldn't, you know. And I was raised here where I live on the reservation to say hello to everybody. It's a good feeling. Everybody needs to be recognized because they're individuals living here, you know, and I always have felt, say hello to everybody, you know. In the city, they wouldn't even smile at you, you know. If you smiled at them, they'd think you were weird or something, or trying to do something to them, you know. Everybody's on guard, you know. You could never feel at ease, you know. And I used to laugh at people that were always in a hurry and just concerned about themselves. And this one time, it's a really funny experience when I was traveling back east. My girlfriends and I were all kind of heavy set, you know, and it was hot in New York, you know, one of those days. And we were going trucking down the road with our ice cream, and this man didn't even know us. He had a black suit. Everything was black, and white collar and everything, a little black hat. Older gentleman with a cane, you know. He shook that cane at us and he says, "Fat girls don't need ice cream," you know. My girlfriends looked at me and I looked at them and I says, "Who do you think you are? Telling us that we shouldn't have ice cream. That's none of your business. You don't even know us." I went to the city for experience, to see if I could handle the white man's world, you know. See if I could get along with the peoples, and I enjoyed it, but then I got lonesome when I was away. I wanted to come back home because I missed something that I could never get from the city, a closeness that Indian people have when they're together, a caring that I could never find and I hunted for when I was in the city. I value my Indian heritage, where I'm from, and I value the old people a lot because to me, they have made wise decisions in their days and they know a lot. I remember when I was younger, when I'd sit and listen to the old people and they'd tell me things that I remember now. They'd talk in Indian to me that I remember now. They'd say things that were important, you know. And the older people have a sense of humor that nobody else can pick up unless you've been around them for a long time. And I used to just get a kick out of a group of old ladies get together and they'll start talking about how life used to be and the changes.
So many of the Coeur d'Alene children grew up at the Catholic school, which was a boarding school. The nuns stressed to us that Indian culture was something else, and we were punished if we spoke our Indian language, Tilly.
Well, they were works of the devil, they'd say.
I could sit and listen to older people for a long time, because they have so much to tell you. The old people have the history, they know so much about our people. And I feel that the old people will always be teaching us something.
Did you know that Salpine was in the hospital?
Since Cusick?
Yeah.
Well, she's on her way to Montana tonight.
Yo, sorry.
Yeah. Nothing gets that old lady down, boy. Her stepson.
I'm young now, and I'm hoping that when I reach the age that some of these older people are, that I can tell the children something about our heritage, our culture, and maybe even teach them the language,
Yeah.
My Indian name means singing bird or birds, and I started thinking about my grandmother Louise and thinking about her, the way she used to speak. And this bird that she used to talk about was a bird that sings on the lake. And it's a really pretty sounding bird. It just waits until everything's quiet on the lake and you're sitting there and you could be listening and it goes, "Ooh, ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh." And it sounds like that. And if you listen, you'll wait till it's quiet and it'll go down and keep on singing all evening or, until it feels like it's ready to stop, until it may be dark or something. And I just kept on thinking about that, and I kept on saying to myself, well, I should make up a song about that. And I just kept on, thinking about it. And it came to me, like there should be a song for that bird, And it came to me finally, and I just felt really good about thinking of a song and thinking about my grandmother, I'll sing it for you. When I lived in the city, I felt uneasy because it's such a mixed up, fast world that they live in. And you get mixed up in this and you forget you just forget about your people for a while. And you're running this pace and you keep on going. I came back to the reservation because this is my home. This is where I feel that I'm safe, I'm happy here. This is my home. And no matter how far away I go, I'm always concerned of the people at home, how they are. How are my people? Are all my friends still there? And when I come home, I just relax. It's like, it's a relief off my shoulders. I'm home, I'm safe, I'm with my friends, I'm with my people. And I just feel